Okay, so we're gonna solve some casual chess puzzles today over lunch. I liked doing the puzzle battles yesterday, but it was kind of frantic. Let's see. My puzzle rating is much higher than my battle rating, so these puzzles are going to be pretty hard. Okay, obviously the knight is pinned here. Currently it has 2 attackers and 2 defenders, so it's sufficiently defended for now. Let's see. We can add another attacker by playing knight d7. Is there any other way for white to defend? If I play knight d7, then queen a4 pins the knight, but also removes a defender. So, is there any other counterattack after knight d7? Seems pretty good to me. Let's try it. And they play queen a4 as suspected, and then now I think we can just take on b6. And that was it. Alright, let's go to the next one. Okay, this one is wide open. Wide open position. Black has an extra pawn. Let's see. I'm looking at moves like queen h2 and queen e4. It's always easiest to look at the checks first. There's also rook b4. There's also queen takes a4, evening material. Oh, that could be interesting. Queen takes a4 could set up a possible discovered attack. If the rook can then move and take with check, then the queen will be attacking the other queen. So that seems pretty good, but let's see. Now let's be more concrete. If queen takes a4, then if the king comes either to g3 or to h3, then we'll have checkmate on g4. So then it looks like the king has to move onto this rank, which completes the idea that I just described. So queen a4, the king comes to g5, and now the rook takes with check, and that reveals an attack on the black queen. Okay, we've got the next one now. Let's see. Now here, white has 2 pawns for a bishop, and obviously has an attack. Let's see. If you have any suggestions for moves, by the way, place them in the chat. So, first obvious check here is queen h7, but then after king f8, I don't really see how to continue. Let's see. There's also rook dh1, threatening rook h8 checkmate. And see if there's any way to defend against that. The black bishop can't move because it's pinned by the queen. If you play something like king f8, then the rook h8 check will still work it'll be bishop takes h8 and then rook takes h8, checkmate. So king f8 doesn't help. King obviously can't move to h8. We're not really worried about this. If anything takes the knight, we still have the mate on h8. I don't really see how to defend here for black, so... Nope, they can sacrifice a rook, I guess. That's interesting. Oh, I see. But now I'll have an attack on e8. Let's see. How are we continuing here now? So I'm looking at rook e8 check. And then he'll have to play... Well, he could play queen f8, but obviously loses the queen. So he probably exchange the rooks, and then my queen will come here to e8. Then you have either bishop f8 or queen f8. On queen f8, I can take the knight. On bishop f8, then I'm looking at rook g4 check. King h7, and then queen h5 check. Is there anything more concrete here? It's also something like rook h7, but I have to be careful because there's a check here, so... Alright, I'm going to try this one. Okay, we don't have to play anymore. We've got a rook and two pawns for the two pieces, but I think white's going to collect more material here before long, so... Okay, let's see. So white's up a pawn. Black hasn't attacked. The knight's currently hanging, but so is this one. In terms of checks, that one looks pretty juicy. So let's have a look-see at that. Queen h4 check, king g2. And we have rook a2 check. This knight defends h2 pretty nicely, which is kind of annoying. I don't see how to proceed after queen h4 check, king g2. This one's tricky. Okay, if we take the knight, I don't think this is going to be right, but then, well, they'll have to exchange here first. The rook will exchange, then take the knight. Then the rook takes here, but then this pawn is running. Probably a draw at that point. White's probably slightly better. Alright, we gotta try it. Oh, that's not right. Maybe just knight h4? That seems to lose to queen d3 check. Maybe the draw is the best we can do. Or maybe change the move order. Play rook a2 first, but then just lose the knight. Alright, let's try this one. Also wrong. Alright, we'll take a hint. I think I see the hint is highlighting the rook. This is a new feature they have. Usually when you press hint, they just give you the first move. But now they highlight the piece you're supposed to move, I guess. What happens when the hint doesn't help you? Yeah, I don't know. Wow. That's interesting. Okay, so the key here is that the knight defends these two squares. So if black can take the knight and have this check, it'll actually be checkmate. And currently the queen defends all of that. So by putting the rook over to a3, it creates a pin on the queen. The reason the move is hard to find is because nothing's protecting the rook. But since we know that the queen cannot actually move away from this diagonal where it needs to defend against queen takes f1 mate, then rook a3 is a valid move. That was a tricky one. Okay. So here we're playing as black. We're down a pawn and a knight. And obviously we can take either rook right now, but probably hoping for more. One thing to notice, if the knight is not there, then queen d4 check forks the king and this knight. So it seems like maybe we could take here, but then he can play king takes. And that fork is gone. So maybe queen d4 right away. Seems like it has to be queen d4 right away. But then he has knight b5. The other option is taking this rook first, but then this knight can take, and now it's no longer in danger. This puzzle battle puzzles were much easier. Also have rook takes f4 maybe, but then the knight is hanging. You guys got any thoughts on this one? Oh, if I play here, the king can't take, actually, because then rook takes f4 and the queen will be pinned against the king. I think that's the key here. Okay. There we go. Okay, let's see. White has 2 minor pieces for a rook. I'm looking at like rook a d8. Then, you know, if the queen moves away somewhere, then the rook on d1 is hanging. Of course, the obvious thought would be to exchange queens, but then black has what's called an intermezzo, or a Zwischenzug, which is a kind of unexpected move in a longer combination. And in this case, that move is rook takes d1 check, and then the king has to move, and then can take back. So I think rook a d8 is probably the right answer here. Oh, there's white has a Zwischenzug of their own with bishop takes f7. So now the key is that you have to play king takes f7, because on queen takes, white can take here, it gets 2 rooks for the queen, and then black will actually have to lose the queen to defend against the mate. So there's king takes f7. I could also, let's see, can I just play king h8 also? And king h8, then maybe just bishop takes e8. So I think I have to take with the king. Oh, that was wrong. Okay. Huh. Let's try that again. I'm not really sure why that was wrong, but I guess maybe there's better. So king f8 seems to be no good because the queen takes with check then. So it really only leaves king h8. Oh, you can't play bishop takes because then I could take the queen with the rook. Okay. Now I have a queen for 2 minor pieces. Okay. All right, I'm taking suggestions on this one. Material's even. The black king is kind of stuck on the back rank here with the queen covering these squares. Obviously, the white rooks are doubled on the d file. This rook has only one defender. Reorganize my windows here. There we go. Now I can see the chat too. I'm looking at trying to support a move like rook d7 maybe. Bishop h3, I like that. So why do you say bishop h3? Attack the rook, that's good. So bishop h3 attacks the rook. It also puts another defender on d7. That's another good thought, improving the position of the bishop just in general, because it's not doing a lot. Although it is attacking one of black's primary weaknesses on c6. But I think the support for d7 is probably most crucial, because if we just imagine the bishop's on h3 for a second and the black pieces don't move at all, then a move like rook d7 would be pretty crushing. The rooks would trade, this other rook would come to d7, and now the rook on d7 is attacking the queen on c7 and also supporting the queen to take on f7, which will probably lead to mate. So if we play bishop h3, what happens if black plays like rook f8? And the same tricks don't work because the rook is defending. Oh no, there won't be a double attack. We'll be attacking the bishop after the queen moves, but well, in a situation like this where you don't quite see the tactic all the way through, bishop h3 seems like a good move anyway. I think I'd probably just go ahead and play it. Nice, and they play the rook e8. So now we need to analyze rook d7. Now there's a check here, which I think we can probably ignore, but it's getting a little tricky. So if we play rook d7, a rook check, obviously we don't want to exchange the rooks here on e1 because the second rook will come with check. Then either the king moves or the bishop comes to f1, and black can deal with, well, maybe black can't deal with that threat. Okay, let's try rook d7. Looks good. Queen e5. Now it looks like we can just win a bishop. Nice. Good job, Jeremy. Bishop h3 was right. Okay, let's see. What is that? Hey guys. Is it just like a random woman emoji? Or is that someone famous that I don't know? Yeah, probably Twitch famous. Okay, let's see. So white's queen's being attacked, obviously. We have a rook h8 check possibility. I'm looking at something like rook h8 check and then swinging the queen over to the h file. I wonder if the king will be able to escape. Alright, I'm going to start with rook h8. Now, do we want to play rook h7 first, or just queen h2 straight away? Queen h2, you could get away with king e6 maybe? For rook h7 check, then king e8. You can just run that way too, so. Queen h2 is pretty dangerous though, because then it opens up rook e3 check. Obviously I could trade off all the material by playing rook h7 and then trading everything here on e7. The endgame is probably not winning for white though. Probably a draw. Alright, let's go for it. There's queen 6. How do we make progress from here? Maybe just moving the rook and then bringing the queen onto the 8th rank as well. Could be pretty dangerous, I guess. Apparently not rook g8 though. I struggle a lot with these rook and queen positions. Not sure why. Maybe queen h6? Queen h6, rook g7. And then maybe rook e8 check. Let's give that a shot. Okay, so king d7. So now we can pick up this pawn. That's probably winning. Is there anything better than that? I don't really see anything. This rook now can't really move freely because rook h7 check is a big threat. I think we just take the pawn. Okay, and that should be enough for white to win with this passed pawn. Alright, let's see. Material is about even. Queen is attacking the rook here. Also, we have a battery against f7. We have knight f6 check, we have knight h6 check. This rook is able to swing over easily. Meanwhile, three of black's major pieces are not defending the king at all. I'm thinking something like knight f6 check, and then if pawn takes, queen takes, and the threat is rook g5 mate. If he just ignores the check, ignores the knight and plays king h8. Then I guess there's at least a fork on d7. That's a kind of bailout variation. All right, let's calculate this more explicitly now. So knight f6 check, g takes f6, queen takes f6. The threat is rook g5. I think the only defense is actually h6. And then I think we can play rook g5 check anyway. Then he'll have to play hg5 because king h7 loses to queen g7 checkmate. So then we take back with the queen. The king can come to h7 or h8. I don't think it matters. Then I'm thinking to bring the rook to f6, and they'll be unstoppable mate, except the queen can take on d4 with check. Does it matter? King h2. It's a lot of arrows, I know. This is a long variation. King h2, and then is there any way to stop this mate? Seems like they'll have to sacrifice a queen to stop the mate. Let's go for it. Oh, and they have to take there. So that's enough material as it is. Let's see if we can do the analysis. Can you still... Let's see, it's coming up now. There you go. Okay, so they played knight b4. I guess you can't really see the right screen anymore. Let's see how I can fix that. Okay, you can see the analysis board now, right? So let's see. It was knight f6 check, g takes f6, queen takes f6. Now they played queen takes c5, but let's see what happens if black actually defends. Something like h6. And here you see there's a mate in 5 with rook g5. That's the line that we were talking about. Queen takes g5, and then king either h7 or h8, doesn't really matter. And here they're saying to play rook f4. Okay. Yeah, rook f4, defending d4. That makes sense. And then the rest of this is simple. Cool. Okay. Let's see if we can switch this back now. Okay. Let's do maybe one or two more. Ooh, an endgame. Okay. So it's white to play. Typically with a knight and a bishop against a bishop and a pawn, white's really only playing for a draw here. But maybe there's more. Looks like we can almost win the bishop already. I'm looking at like bishop b7 check. And then if the king goes here, we have this fork. Obviously the king can instead go here or here. I think this is the kind of idea we're looking for. So maybe we can play king f6 check to first cover those squares with our own king, also attacking the bishop. So then if the bishop goes here, it looks like, can we make a fork in some way from there? If I play bishop e6 check, then the king can just run this way. Somehow I need to make a check and then use the knight to fork the king and the bishop. That's the only way white can possibly win this game. I feel like king f6 is right, but I can't see quite how to make it work. Maybe there's some other way, just attacking the bishop straight up. something like this. Then the bishop can just come here. Kind of has to be king f6. Okay. Now how do we win the bishop? So we can attack the bishop here and here. So if we can force the king to this square, then this knight move to g3 would be a fork winning the bishop. Forcing the king to here is not possible. Is there any way to get the king to move here? This bishop check results in king c6. Okay, what if we attack the bishop first? Well, it seems like the bishop could just go to e8 maybe? If the bishop comes here, we have this skewer. Bishop goes here, then we have a discover check fork. If the bishop goes here, we don't have anything. Maybe king g5? Seems like there's always one square we can't quite protect. Alright, let's give this a shot. Yeah, that's wrong. Alright, let's get a hint. Oh, time to move the bishop. Okay, so maybe it's a check here first. And the king has to go here, which means that this square for the knight will help us to attack a bishop that ends up here or here. Our bishop on b7 will be covering that square. But that still leaves this one open. But I would really like to trap this bishop, but I don't know how. King comes to g5 now. Ah, this check. Why couldn't the bishop have just gone here? Oh, because of this one. And that? Because of this one. Wow. That's hard. Okay. I think that's enough for now. Thanks for joining. I'll try to do more of these during lunch, either these puzzles or puzzle battle. So keep a lookout. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.